Hello. How's it going, everybody? I'm going to go over a quick little animation I put together. There's a lot of tracks, but I'm going to kind of just haul through it. So here it is. Awesome. So there's a bunch of different things going on, but there's only a few main differences between a lot of those things. And what I mean is, I think, so this whole thing for me was kind of like, let's put together some really quick and dirty and just see, you know, don't worry about getting super technical, or just knock it together, find some good patches that you like, and yeah, go from there. So as you'll see as I go through, a lot of these are really the same Sound Toys patches that I put together with different samples. But to start, there's just some humming going on. Cool. And that's just a quick absinthe patch. There's really nothing going on crazy there. And then as we go through, like a lot of these brighter clips, this is the real logo close, this patch I made here. I'm going to go into this one in detail here and then skip it later. So going backwards, what we can do is I'll turn it off, and here's the original samples. Cool. And then those are probably already pitched around, and transients are cut up a little bit here and there before they even get into the effect rack. But I'm a big fan of just simming through Sound Toys and finding and getting to know what it's doing, and then kind of adjusting it from there. So let's turn that on. CEQ is great for making things a little harsh, and I think it doesn't make it run too hot, but it also adds this kind of lower quality drive. It's not really clear, good distortion. It's kind of low quality. So I like that for this. And then crystallizer. Crystallizer, I generally like using crystallizer and the tremolator in conjunction with each other for movement. So when you add them together, and then you can, I don't think I do it in this particular, yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah. So as you, I have it set up to do it, but it doesn't really do it too much. But this is a big thing on how I get my movements and how I make things pull and open and slide and stuff, is using the rate in conjunction with, you know, like the recycle and the mix and stuff. Okay, so for this, just kind of increasing. Let me talk about this a little bit. So like this sample is it's actually like this printing library of different like machines just running, like printers and 3D printers and fax machines and stuff. Using double wide to kind of open it up, it makes it a lot fuller and bigger, and then just some EQing to kind of get what I want out of it. It goes from this a little grittier and more clear in the mix. And you know, we're using Echo Bar here to widen things, not really change the sound too much. Another workflow thing that I like to do is I'll talk about that in a second. This is just a pair of scissors. Oh, actually, I'll talk about that now. Workflow. I keep the raw unused MIDI instruments up here so that I can go back to them without worrying about losing the patch. It's kind of lazy of me, but it's just a pair of scissors for that clip. And what we do is drop the pitch down, widen it out with Echo Boy to be one of the little clips for getting that movement down. So this is cool. This this black track acts as like the host of the sidechain. So everything in this subfolder is prioritized. You know, so we want those to really we want those tracks to stand out and to really thump when they happen. So I'll solo that group to see what tracks. In the mix, for whatever reason, when I put them in these like sucking in sounds of my name there, it didn't really help, so I kept them out. This track, we'll talk about this one. What I like to do is, so over time, what I was saying, you know, using crystallizer in conjunction with these printing ones and these gear sounds and these mechanical sounds, you have this like open close, and then you can have the movement, and then you have the locking together. So that's a really just good way of using these two sound libraries together. Sounds like this. And then quick and hacky way, throwing low air right onto the fucking clip itself just to get some low end or lower low end. That's really quick and dirty. I would obviously set that up a better way. Getting a little transformery here. It's I'll turn these all off. This is just another 3D printer. And using effect rack for, well, one of them I'm assuming I did was one for tone, one for movement, just to think about it that way. There's the movement one. A little bit of tone shaping, not really, and then coming into the low air to warm it up and give some tiny bit of low end. And then I use Altiverb here as a secondary reverb, aside from the one on the master, just to glue it together a little bit, to add some more space, make it stand out a little bit. I like that sound. More tinny high-tech stuff. Just chop up these samples. I'm using the same effect rack stuff with it, dropping in that preset everywhere and then changing it to taste. Using the lightning, I use 3 different sounds here. So that's pitched up and down air compressors with some more effect rack per the usual. Cool. So for this one, this is this sample. I like when you start with something, then make it totally different and bend it how you want. But this is just, there's some gears moving and opening and closing, but using Echo Boy and why did you do that? Edit undo. I don't like that Reaper lets me do that. If I scroll, I don't want to scroll through fucking presets. So using Echo Boy here to widen it out and actually have a pretty insane feedback to make it all smash together. Yeah, sounds nothing like it, but that's kind of exactly what I wanted. It probably would have picked a better sound source file, but the rule of the road here is quick and dirty. And together they work, right? And then this synth growl, I believe. Yeah, so this is just like an envelope, some synth. I think I might have used Reactor. So this Outback synth just happens to open up nicely over time, and I liked how it sounded, so I used Effect Rack to grid it up, using Effect Rack as to kind of like have a patch that makes it angrier as it opens up. So none of the movement is happening in Echo Boy here, but all the movement's happening in the synth, and then using Effect Rack and some new reverb and a bit of compression to make it growl over time and get a little angrier. And then using Altiverb again as some arbitrary space creation. You're not doing anything. I don't need you. So this track is baked down. The audio file is sent down from the MIDI track, and then I do some more post processing on it. But so it's kind of hard to go in reverse here unless I want to go up and pull it out again. But it's pretty simple, old school waveform, probably from Prism again, and then throwing on some arbitrary low end because bass. Those complement each other. Don't really remember the source file on that one. Probably something on my desk that I found, but oh yeah, more of the 3D printer stuff. I love this sound library. This is a really great buy for anybody making stuff like this, because by itself, once again, using the Real Logo Close preset, take it off, sounds like that, and then just like that, it lines up stylistically with the whole project. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, some more bright low end or high end stuff. I think I kept these handful of tracks, like these 4 tracks, pretty normal. Yeah, like really shrill and normal, because it needed some reality and was kind of getting muddied up. Like if you keep using like CEQ and Decapitator, I think at least in a lot of the same tracks, that distortion kind of gets old, and it kind of doesn't it makes things harder to poke out if you keep using it. So using these tracks is without any distortion from those plugins, and just having them run hot, I think really helps it cut through the mix. Some of them are in sync, some of them aren't for these like grittier high-end stuff. I like the way it sounded, so I kept it. There was one point where I was going to have a little melody in here, but I said fuck it. So yeah, just run it one more time. Cool. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, let me know.